Faded.
Zoom. Woke.
Coyote.
Cancel
Ratchet.
culture.
Non-binary.
Bubble.
COVIDiot.
Digital blackface.
Long hauler.
Words change. They mutate. Morph. Change tense. Change meaning, and new words are created. Old words fall out of usage. Expressions that everyone is using this week may very well fall out of favor in a month. And a paragraph that made perfect sense 5 years ago might sound really strange now. Journey Writers presents Word of the Month. Original poetry, prose, essays, and commentaries written by Journey Writers members exploring our ever-changing language.
The Journey Writers' word of the month for this month is grill.
Grillin'. What? Oh, you need my name? Sure, officer. I goes by Persia Blue. And yes, sir, I knows you grillin' me 'cause you got to, so shoot your questions and I'll do my best. Yep, I was right there in the backyard where it happened. See, Diesel the Weasel, that's my man, he was a rapper. He was fly and totally up on the latest tooth jewelry. And he was fronting a mouth full of gold, silver, and diamonds. He sparkled for real. My man's grill was lit. You feeling me? Now, I has to say was, 'cause as you know, he ain't here to show you 'cause of the unfortunate accident you be investigating. See, last week we was at this big backyard barbecue at Cujo's Digs. That's Weasel's so-called best friend. I mean, we was all having a good time, eating, dancing, rapping, and shooting the breeze. And it was all good, till Cujo hit on me, and Weasel saw him do it. Now, I paid Cujo no mind, brushed him off like he was a mosquito, which he kind of was, all long-nosed, thin, smallish, and annoying. See, me and Weasel, we been an item long before he got into the music scene, and I am nothing if not loyal to my man. But Weasel, well, he was kind of jealous, and when he saw Cujo trying to snuggle up on me, he dashed over and got all up in Cujo's grill, nose to nose in his face, pushing, swearing, and yelling that he was going to kick Cujo's natural behind into next week. See, now, I'm trying to talk to Weasel, trying to pull him off of Cujo and get him to calm down, you know? But Weasel, he don't want to listen to no common sense. Just kept messing with Cujo. See, Weasel, he was bigger than Cujo, but Cujo, he knowed karate. And when Weasel wouldn't let up, well, Cujo just dipped a leg into his karate bag o' tricks, lashed out, and snap! Weasel's knee broke. And then Cujo landed a roundhouse kick, and crack! Weasel's ribs shattered. Then Cujo whirled round on one leg while the other slammed into Weasel's back, sending him flying through the air over my head. And when he come down, it was onto one of them open pits where they was roasting a whole hog. And then, with a horrible plop, my poor Diesel the Weasel was just another piece of meat on the grill. And that, officer, is what happened. This is Beth Gibbs for Journey Writers' Word of the Month.
Grilled to perfection. Jackson never thought he'd be living in a neighborhood like this. He grew up not poor, but solidly middle class. His parents couldn't afford to send him to the best schools, but he had worked his butt off to get good grades. Hell, he'd even made the dean's list once. So when the small animation company that he worked for was hired by a major motion picture studio, he could barely believe it. And he definitely couldn't believe it when his small team won a Technical Academy Award for advances in creating more realistic animated fire effects, of all things. And money followed soon after. More money than he'd ever had in his life. Though his parents had taught him how to better himself, they didn't teach him how to be rich. His new neighbors were rich. They were nice enough, but they were rich. Professional athlete, corporate bigwig rich. If he was honest with himself, he wasn't quite fitting in. When he was invited to dinner at a neighbor's home, he misheard what the hostess had said about the glassware and asked her about her waterfall crystal. She corrected him, not unkindly, explaining that it was Waterford crystal. All Jackson could think of to say was, "They were very nice and heavy." Another time, trying his best to be sophisticated, he'd asked a friend's wife if she was wearing Jackie Chan's. She smiled and said, "You probably meant to say Jimmy Choo's." The husbands were just as label conscious, if not more so. When Jackson told a neighbor about the Rolex watch he bought to celebrate his Oscar win, the neighbor showed off his Hublot watch. Later, Jackson looked up the timepiece online and found that it was worth more than $400,000. While shooting hoops in the driveway, he told another neighbor that he had always got the new Air Jordans when they came out. In response, the neighbor showed off his Balenciaga sneakers, casually mentioning that he'd gotten them for a steal, only $1,200. Jackson had to find a way to impress his new neighbors. A master at the barbecue grill, he decided to invite the neighborhood over for a buffet of ribs, chicken, and steaks. He'd even ask his mom to make potato salad and mac and cheese. He knew they'd be bowled over by his grilling skills, but he needed something else. He needed something that he could talk about the way his neighbors talked about their designer pets and sports cars. That was it. He'd buy the biggest, baddest, most amazing grill ever made. After spending several hours on the internet, he found a company that made stainless steel grills to order by hand. Better yet, they deliver and set up anywhere in the U.S. Alupinur? Alupinur grills? How was that pronounced? He couldn't make another waterfall crystal mistake, so he called the company. A pleasant voice answered, "All up in your grill, company." Yes, Jackson thought, this would be perfect. This is Larry Reming for Journey Writer's Word of the Month.
Grill. When speaking, choose your words wisely, with truth, honesty, and respect, because you never know when you will be grilled. When the time comes for you to speak, will you be able to speak the truth, or caught stumbling over your words as you try to remember the lie you told? This is when the heat from the grill will get hotter and hotter in a time of deceit. George Orwell telling the truth is a revolutionary act. You don't have to dig deep to speak truth. But a lie is like digging a well. So always be truthful and honest. That way, when it's your time to be grilled, you will not end up feeling the heat of shame and end up being burned by humiliation. This is Barbara Stevens for Journey Writers Word of the Month.
We hope you have enjoyed Word of the Month, presented by Journey Writers Incorporated. Our organization provides a safe, supportive space for writers and those who want to become writers to share their work and receive constructive feedback. For more information about Journey Writers, our twice-monthly workshops, and how you can participate in the Word of the Month, please visit our website at journeywriters.org. We'd love to hear from you. Word of the Month is made possible through a generous grant from the Betty Knox Foundation.